Hello everyone, Nadeem here with PC.Solutions.Net, and I'm here with Mack. It's Chat with Mack. That means it's Friday. Not that it's Friday and it's chat with Mack Day, but it's Chat with Mack Day, and so that means it's Friday. So Mack, how you doing?
I'm good. Slightly tired. Ready to go to sleep till 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. So
I got you there. This morning I didn't want to get out of bed. So I started sleeping with my watch on. And I don't know if guys know this, but I have an Apple Watch, and I've been testing it with several things. So I started with just workouts and just monitoring that, and now I've gone into monitoring sleep as well. So it's actually working out pretty good. I got this app on there which will kind of, instead of having a set time at 5:30, which I used to have every morning, I can tell it a range when I want to get up. And then it kind of nudges me when I'm least fast asleep. So it's not trying to wake me when I'm in deep sleep, but it'll wake me up within that time frame when I'm most awake, I guess.
There's an app that does this?
Yeah, so it actually measures how deep sleep I'm in. It tracks all that. It shows me, what was my REM sleep, what was my deep sleep, and what was my light sleep, and what was my awake time. And then it starts the alarm when I'm in the least amount of sleep. So it works out well. So it's like, instead of waking up, every morning at 5:30, no matter what, it's kind of like waking me up around that time when I'm in the least amount of sleep at that point.
Gotcha.
So it's been working out pretty good, so I'm just testing it out, but it's a good thing to have. Actually, Colleen told me to get this. I can't wear stuff. I mean, you don't see any jewelry, you don't see anything. I can't wear stuff, and I couldn't wear a watch either, but Colleen told me, and he said, hey, you need to get this because it's not just the watch, it's tracking so much other stuff. I mean, if you fall down, it can summon 911. I mean, it's just all kinds of things. So
goodness.
Yeah. So I've been wearing it, and the best part is this new Apple Watch that just came out this year. It holds a charge where I'll put it on the charger, go take a shower. By the time I'm done, it'll be fully charged, and I put it back on. So I never really have to, be without the watch when I'm doing stuff. It's always on me when I'm doing stuff. So it's tracking my, input, output, all that very well. But I'm just, I just like data. So I'm collecting all this data.
You collected the data.
So,
I like that.
Excuse me. So Mack, what are we going to talk about today?
So, we've been really big on security for the last couple of weeks when we've done these talks, but you kind of mentioned something about productivity. And since we've been really, we've been talking to legal firms and really doing our promotions through legal firms, it's been very interesting to read about how a lot of these firms, being that they're working remote, are having a little bit of an issue being able to collaborate on certain things. And that's when Onedrive comes in, because you're able to do that. So, let's talk a little bit about being able to streamline a process and the collaborative effort that you can use within Onedrive.
Okay, so it's not just OneDrive; it's OneDrive and SharePoint as a whole. It brings a whole new level of collaboration to the table. So talking specifically about OneDrive, the main thing is for remote users, it's a game changer, right? So in the past, companies, they used to subscribe to Box.com, Dropbox, all these other ancillary services, and there was not very tight way to control these silos of information. Well, with OneDrive, it's all integrated with your Active Directory, the company Active Directory, which might be where your Office 365 accounts are, or your regular, work Active Directory is. So it's all integrated with that. So now a company can control the information that's in OneDrive, SharePoint, all that. Now, it helps the remote users because if your data, instead, like in the old days, people were used to home drives on their server, right? So instead of your home drive, if you use OneDrive, so all your data now is in OneDrive, and it doesn't matter where you are. You could be traveling, you could be remote working from home, you could be at a hotel. you have access to your data no matter what, no matter where you are. You have access to your data from your handhelds, from your tablets, from your PCs. Doesn't matter what operating system you're running, you have access to your data. So what that allows you to do is it makes it easy for users to get to their data that they need for work. So they don't have to, for example, VPN and do this and jump through a few hoops before they can get to that data. They just, like they are at the office, they just click, the data's there, and they can do that no matter where they are. So it makes remote work a lot easier. Now, that's just one thing. Accessibility is one thing. The other part of the equation is it brings a few additional things to the table. So, for example, a user can share a file with another user, maybe their colleague at work. Now, both these users are really working from home, but since the data resides in either OneDrive or SharePoint, they can both work on this data at the same time. So it's what Microsoft calls co-authoring. So you can co-author with other users simultaneously, and it's real time. So it makes life a lot easier when you can actually see other people doing that. And maybe, next time we do another video, we'll do this, and maybe we can work on the same document together. But I just want to touch on that, so we can come back to that later. So that's a very important thing that that has been implemented in Microsoft 365 now. It did not exist like maybe a year ago, so it's something fairly new. Now, this capability already existed in Google Docs, right? The problem with Google Docs is, think of it this way. Google Docs, or Google as a service, started from the individual side and it's going towards the enterprise side.
Yep.
Microsoft started from the enterprise side and is going towards the individual side. Yeah. There's a happy medium somewhere in the middle. I think we're real close to that now. But so that's what OneDrive does, is it allows people to collaborate very easily no matter where they are. And in this day and age where everybody's trying to work remote, it's it makes life so much easier. And at PCSN we've all been working remote anyway. I'd rather people work from home, and this is an inside secret, and Mack probably shouldn't hear this, but one of the things I noticed when, back in the day, we used to all come into an office and we all used to do stuff. And when we started working remote, one thing I noticed was that people were actually working more. They may not be working at the same times, in that confines of that office hours window, but overall they were working more. I remember one time I texted somebody and I was like, hey, what are you doing? It's like 1 o'clock at night. What are you doing? Why are you working? And he was like, oh, I couldn't sleep, so I thought might as well get some work done. So it's like, well, okay. But the productivity actually increased for us, and we've never looked back. So we've invested a lot of money on the back end systems, automate stuff, our NOC, our monitoring systems. So we invested a lot of money in that as opposed to investing in buildings and offices and stuff like that.
That's true.
So productivity has been great, and when I talk to Microsoft a lot of times, and we talk about a lot of different things, but one of the things that comes up is profitability, and the question always comes up that how are we able to, being such a small company, how are we able to get 9 gold competencies? So we are a gold partner with Microsoft, and we have 9 gold competencies. Even large 100, 150 user IT firms don't have 9 gold competencies.
Yeah.
And when I told them what our business model is, and they were like, wow, this works. And it does. So that's besides the point. So anyway, so the thing is, OneDrive will make it easier for your users to work, and you don't have to be IT gurus to be able to use this. It's so easy OneDrive is actually coming from the individual OneDrive side. So it's really, when I say OneDrive, I'm really talking about OneDrive for Business. They used to be different products at a while back, and then what Microsoft did is they merged those two teams, because OneDrive used to be a separate product, and then OneDrive for Business used to be the SharePoint My Portal back in the day. And then Microsoft merged the SharePoint My Portal team with the OneDrive team, so that it's now just one entity that is handling all of this. It works great, and I think it's a step in the right direction. The one good thing that came out of this is now we don't have separate clients for SharePoint, My Portal, and OneDrive for Business. It's just one client. And this one client now is able to sync OneDrive, OneDrive for Business, and SharePoint portals. So it just makes things a lot easier. So that's one thing that you got to do. Now, for remote users, OneDrive will really improve productivity. The second thing that I want to touch on today is, well, that's all well and good, but one of the things that I'm noticing, that I'm getting feedback from customers, from companies, is that, well, these remote users are, yeah, they can work great remotely, but the problem is when they were sitting at their office machine, the company had bought them 3 monitors or 4 monitors, and they had all these monitors, and well, it's harder for them to work from home with just one monitor, and we don't want them taking equipment out of the office, just because they're going to work temporarily from home. They say temporary, it's going to be longer than
it's going to be a lot longer.
I use that term loosely, right? But so the answer to that is Windows 10 has a feature called multiple desktops, and it's what I've been using for a long time. So I've been using it on the Mac side. On the Mac, we have a similar feature. Linux has a similar feature that they've had for a long time. Windows was the only one that did not have something like this, and you had to install third-party utilities to do that. Well, in Windows 10, it's built in. But not a lot of people know about that. So what you can do is you can have multiple desktop spaces, right? And you can swipe between them. It's like having multiple monitors, even though they might be virtual. So and what I'll do is I'll just share my screen and I'll show you. Hopefully it works. You're gonna see some cascading effect because we're doing, I'm capturing this screen and then I'm gonna share my desktop. So it's gonna be I'm going to be capturing myself, so you're going to see this tunnel going on. But anyway, if you bear with me, let me switch over here, and here we go. Okay, so you see this nice cascade effect on the main screen. So Mac, you cannot see this just yet, but in the video you will be able to. So anyway, so what you do is in your on your desktop, you see this little task view down on your start bar. You see a task view. When you click on task view, it will show you all your tasks. So you see a bunch of my tasks right now, and then up at the top you'll see multiple desktops. So you might have just only one desktop, but you can click this little plus next to it and create another desktop there, and that will create multiple desktops. So now I just ended up switching it, but let me switch back. So in task view, you can switch between different desktops. So click on the plus over here, and that will create a new desktop, and you can have as many desktops as you want. Now, let me show you this.
I'm actually doing this while you're showing this. I'm actually doing this right now as you're describing it.
Okay, great.
I had no clue I could do this. None.
Yeah, not a lot of people know about this. So now that you've created a second desktop, and you can create as many as you want, now what you can do is you can very easily swipe between them. So you don't have to click that task view button every time to switch views and go to the desktop. Use 4 fingers and swipe to the left and swipe to the right, and you'll jump between desktops. So if I swipe to the left, this is my second desktop, and of course you can't see it because it's not shared.
Wow.
But you can have multiple desktops. So now here's the beauty of it. So you have one desktop where you have 4 or 5 different apps running. Then you can have another desktop where you maybe have a remote desktop session going to one machine. Then you might have a third desktop that might have a remote desktop going to yet another machine. So now you can very easily switch back and forth between these desktops. It makes life a lot easier. You don't need multiple monitors. It's just one monitor. And this is what I do. Any machine that I have, whether it's a laptop or anything, I always have multiple desktops on there, because in this day and age, we're always working with so many different apps. You can't just have one monitor and live with it. It's just hard,
That is
right?
such a great
It's
point.
tough living with just one monitor. So folks, use this virtual desktop feature that's built into Windows, and we might go deeper into this as well. But if you go into this task view, you'll notice that you can not only switch between multiple tasks that are on the screen, but on the right hand side you see a timeline. You can actually go back in time and kind of see what you did earlier today or yesterday or whatever. So play with it. It's you can even search for stuff. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let everybody play with it and have fun. So
awesome.
let me switch over my view. So that's what there are technologies built into Windows now that makes it easier for everybody to be able to have multiple virtual desktops that you can easily swipe between them. Four finger swipe. Well, that's what you can change that, right? So I use four finger swipe. It's just because I'm used to it, because I started using this feature when it wasn't available in Windows, and I was on, I think, a Mac at that time. Mac had it already there, and it used to be the four finger swipe, so I'm used to the four finger swipe. So that's what I do is, once you start using it, I think in about a day it will become second nature, where you won't even ask for another monitor, and people looking over your shoulder will just be absolutely lost. How you can work, how do you know where's what? Because once a desktop is out of your view, you don't see it anymore. So a person looking over your shoulders is going to be totally lost. But anyway, so that is another feature that's built into Windows that makes productivity just much, much better and makes you more productive during the day if you don't have multiple monitors available. So now you can throw that in with multiple monitors, because here's the good part. If you have multiple monitors, you can have multiple virtual desktops on multiple monitors.
Really?
Wow. So you can have 2 or 3 desktops on one monitor, 2 or 3 desktops on another monitor, and so we are multiplying ourselves, really.
This is crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
So I urge everybody to play with this feature. Click on that little task view. It's there for a reason. It makes life easier. You can have multiple virtual desktops as you want. Swipe between them. Gestures are helpful. And one more thing. Remote desktop, people who use remote desktop to connect to your work. If you're using remote desktop to connect to a machine at your work, did you know your clipboard works between your local machine and the remote desktop machine? So in other words, you can copy something from a document locally and then paste it in your remote desktop screen. But that's not all. Try right-clicking and copying a file and then pasting it from your remote desktop into your local machine and see what happens. Yeah, it's like magic. I'm not gonna say what happened. Just try it. So anyway, so that's gonna make you more productive. So there are some tidbits in these videos, folks. If people are just are tuning it off, saying, "Oh, it's just Nadeem talking about stuff," no, this stuff will make your life easier. So I'm not gonna go into too much other stuff. I think we need to keep it simple. So just 2 things. OneDrive for business with SharePoint, and then these virtual desktops. It will, practice it. It will make your life a lot easier. And don't forget, you can copy and paste stuff between your remote desktop sessions, whether it's just data from a file or a whole file by itself.
Wow.
So it's all there, and it all works good. So Mac, I think that's what we're gonna stop it today. It's it's good. Not very long, and we'll go a little bit deeper into OneDrive and collaborating, co-authoring,
Absolutely.
real time, and we'll do that next time, and do a video on that. But until next Friday, bye, Mac, and everybody out there, have a good day, and be safe, and have a great weekend.
You guys have a good one.
Bye-bye.